Hello, everybody. Welcome to a special short edition of Messi Co. I'm Ashley here with my co host Matt to talk about what we thought deserved a little bit of its own airtime, which is this Cremaschi Mascherano conversation, tension, action that's been developing over the last few days. So, Matt, I'm going to start with you. Let's talk about Benha kind of coming a little bit out of the blue when he was doing a press conference over the weekend, I believe, or last week, and kind of showed a little frustration with what's been going on.
Yeah, Benka Cremaschi has been very upset, or what seems like being very upset or very frustrated lately with some of the decision making that Mascherano has been, making with team selections and where he's been playing specifically on the field. He expressed that he said, and I quote, "I'm frustrated because he wants to play but he wants to play in center mid. That he enjoys playing in center mid, but it's very difficult for him mentally to." uh, kind of go into that he feels that he goes into games not knowing what position that he's going to play until the day of, and for him it's mentally very difficult and challenging for him because he wants to play, he wants to give his best, and but it's very complicated for him, and it's just created a lot of tension for with him and Mascherano because of that.
Yeah. So, well, can you correct me if I'm wrong? When Messi came, Cremaschi was 16 that first season, right?
Yeah,
So,
16.
so I think there's some good points and some not, some questions there. I think point one is, he knows that he's 16 years old, and when, Messi, Busquets, Alba, and Suarez join, you know, I don't think Suarez was there yet the first year, right? He
Not
didn't
the first
Suarez
year.
right, so during that time, Cremaschi was still able to get some playing time because a lot of the other players that have come in since then weren't there yet, and he was kind of having his breakout moment.
Mhm.
Um, but then obviously last season he started to see less minutes, started to get moving around because you had additions of new players like Allende. You had obviously new players coming for defense. You had new players coming in. You saw the rise of Yannick Bright. You saw obviously we had Robert Taylor, like Julian Gressel, Luis Suarez, Campana, all of these players where it meant that Cremaschi got a little bit lower in the pecking order. And so I think it's understandable to be frustrated, but I would say at this young of an age, this is the perfect time for you to be able to maximize your opportunities and be a little more grateful with the fact that like you're able to learn from the greatest to ever do it, and it is much better in throughout your career in football to be able to play three positions, let's say at a 7, 8 out of 10 rather than one position at a 9 out of 10. That makes you much more valuable. What do you think? How do you think about
I
what his comment?
absolutely I agree with you on that point. I first of all, I do think that Benka has the right to express how he feels. Like if
100%.
he feels frustrated, he should say that. He should say that though to Mascherano. I don't think he should come out into the media and kind of express that
Made
first
like a
before
young kid
addressing it.
move, yeah.
Yes, I think that's where kind of, I don't know if it's ego, I don't know what it is exactly, but I think that that's definitely a mistake. But um I think Mascherano definitely sees Benka as a player that can play many positions. We've clearly seen that. We've seen him play right mid, center mid, left mid. We've seen him kind of move around. We've seen him play left back. Like
It's a compliment that that a coach thinks or tries to because they believe in your ability.
I believe so too. I think that um what Mascherano sees Benka Cremaschi kind of as like a Swiss Army knife. He can play anywhere at any moment, at any time during the game. And then depending on the situation, you are ready. And he expects Benja to be ready because he trusts him. Mascherano trusts Benja in situations where we have to show a little bit of dynamism, to show a little bit of adaptability. Um, and he trusts that. I think that Benja I don't want to say that he's taking it the wrong way or he's ungrateful, because maybe I can definitely see that it's very frustrating for somebody to kind of play in multiple positions and not just be
And then you
accustomed
see
to going
Rodrigo de
one.
Paul just get signed, and you're like,
You know,
"Oh, shoot."
that's
But
another
Lisandro
thing.
just went out the door, so, it's
That is
constant.
another thing. He did have to adapt. Like I said, we had many signings come in. We had a lot of players injured, so he just had to fill in those gaps. I do think though that he has to be a little bit more grateful to the opportunities that he's getting. Um, Not because I'm saying that he doesn't deserve it, but I'm saying
Right.
Mascherano has that trust in you to go play in these positions to fill these players when they're injured or when we have to change the dynamic or change the tactic of the team. He's like, okay, you know what, Benka, we need you to play here because the team is playing this way now. And he
Yeah.
trusts him. So that's what I think.
Agreed, and I also it's a circumstance where, look, he's 16 years old, homegrown player. Messi joins you in Leagues Cup. He's giving you, he's giving you assists and you're scoring goals at the New York Red Bull. Remember that insane goal? He's winning a trophy, and he's 16 years old, and now he's getting recruited to be on the U.S. men's senior team, and then this
Yeah,
and
because
that,
now
and
he's 20. Now this is it's
so
been
he
it's been a
he
while.
was 18, not 16. He was 18, sorry. He was 18 when Messi joined. Still very young though. So he went, in which is a lot. And so you can understand that at a young age you then think, "Oh, okay, well, I belong because I was able to do it." But like all teams, things shift and move, and he will continue to have opportunities. I don't think the saying that, and you're gonna say how Mascherano responded in a second. I don't think it's gonna affect it seriously. Like, I don't think it's gonna now be like, "Oh, Benja's not gonna get any more minutes." Like,
Mhm.
it's now, I think, up to him to I think it shows bravery, it shows in belief in yourself. That's good quality to have as a soccer player. You need to be selfish in that way, but you need to learn how to be a little bit more tactful, and I think this will be a good example of both. So, with that, how did Mascherano respond to Benha's, frustrations?
I think it was very juicy in the press conference, in my opinion, and yeah, it's been getting a
Juicy
little bit of
stuff.
traction. It's very very juicy how Mascherano responded to Benham's comments. Obviously, after the game against LA Galaxy, after Benham Cremaschi gets the start, a journalist did ask him about or ask Mascherano about the comment that Benja made. Mascherano said this. He says that he understands what Benja was trying to say, and that as a team, they do prepare for games, and in terms of playing in different positions, it's not like he flips a coin and he wakes up one morning. He's like, you know what, you're gonna play there, and you're gonna play there today, and you're gonna play there. Like it's not like just random as Benja made it seems. Uh, Mascherano expressed that there are certain situations that happen in games where you have to come off the bench and you just have to be put in this position because that's what the team needs and that's what we need to win the game. And so he understands. He also said that he understands. Mascherano understands that Benja likes to play a center mid because Mascherano also liked to play center mid when he was at Barcelona, but he had to be moved to center back because if not, he wasn't going to get any game time.
Right.
So at the end of the day, to wrap up his comments, he said, "This is a professional game, and he determines whether uh, which player plays in what position in what situation. And if anybody has a problem with that, his office doors are always open. And if you ever bother to come see him and express those feelings to him face to face." But as of right now, nobody has gone to him face to face. So, like I said, Benja went to the media and kind of expressed his frustration
Instead of going
instead
face
of
to face.
going face to face to Mascherano first, which is very rookie mistake at this professional level.
Well, look, I think that was a very fair answer from Mascherano because for a couple of reasons, and it's also why I think that in the end, I'm not gonna say it's gonna blow over, but I think it's gonna be a good learning experience because to Mascherano's point, he's like, "Look, like I said previously, Benha has a position he wants to play, but in your career, what's gonna be more important is to play, and so
Mhm.
you learn to adapt and look." Mascherano had to adapt to one of the greatest teams of all time. You're still playing for, in the MLS at age 20. So like there's perspective there. I also think maybe because Mascherano is a rookie coach as well, um, maybe he didn't make it seem like a friendly like an environment where you could come into his office, right? Because his it's also his first time ever being a coach of a professional team. So I think probably on both sides, having that confusion, or having that difference of opinion. Um, how they move forward with it, I think Cremaschi will probably learn to try to, you know, it's not like what your player asking to be traded. You're frustrated. So it's not as extreme as the situation could be. It's not that extreme. But I think it's a good learning experience for both of them because Mascherano as a coach will have many players like a Fafa, for example, who are going to be frustrated because um, Mascherano has to make choices on a game by game basis, and knowing that he has a limited window and very little room for error, right? So I thought it was a fair answer. Um, and I think him giving the example of himself having to adapt in order to keep his position in Barca is a
Mhm.
great thing for Ben Ha to learn from, and he started him and played him on Saturday. So,
I
you
agree.
know, hopefully, I think it'll probably be the end of that saga in general, but but I think it was a good response from Javi because he's pissed. He's like, "Come to me first. I'm the coach. You come to
Yeah.
me. You don't go to the media. You're 20 years old." But then I think he kind of said, "Look, we do plan things. We do adapt things. I learned to adapt. We trust you to play. We play you." So, I think it will move forward, okay.
Yeah.
So, it was interesting though. We hadn't seen that in a while, and
Mhm.
I'll say, like, there's a little I think even Mascherano too probably has to have a little bit of admiration for having the bravery and belief in yourself that Cremaschi has to say or do something like that. Because he's not saying, "Oh, I hate everything. Everything's going wrong for me. Woe is me. I'm suffering." He's
Mhm.
saying, like, "I believe there's so much more I can bring and do, and I want more," which
Mhm.
is what you want your players to feel like. So
Yeah.
that go
Sorry.
ahead.
No, no, no. I was gonna say that I think it's great that somebody that young and that eager has that drive
Right,
and will to compete against a team with a lot of superstar players like De Paul, like Sergio Busquets, Velasco Segovia. Like these guys are big time. They played in Europe.
Rodrigo to Paul.
Like literally the two center mids are Rodrigo De Paul and Busi. Like literally that's your competition. Um, I do think that I I want to say that Benja kind of needs to prove it. Like if we want this to kind of move on and not have turn it into something bigger, first I think he'll learn the not to go to the media first. I think he'll learn that number one. But second, I think he needs to learn that like like I said, this is you're competing against Rodrigo de Paul, Sergio Busquets, Velasco Segovia, Tadeo Allende, and if Jordi Alba gets injured and Noah Allen gets injured again, yeah, maybe you'll play left back. Like he
Right.
has to understand at this point in his career, if this team, this Inter Miami team, that is the role that he's gonna play. And I'm sorry, like he
And
has
he
to
has
be
the
very
opportunity
careful.
to learn this at a very young age, which not
Exactly.
not a lot of players
He
do.
has he has to be kind of I want to say he has to be grateful
Yeah,
because if he continues to act in this way, and this is me going focusing a little bit on the negative here, if he continues to act this way, maybe express his frustration or be a little bit ungrateful because of that young kid in him comes out, then he might get traded because like they're gonna be like, hey, if you're not
right,
happy, if you don't want to be, if this is my plan for you, if you're not with it, you can play for another team.
right.
And so Benja needs to be careful on some of the things that he says or how he says it or when he says it, because if not, he may not have a position on this team much longer. Which I hope is not the case. I think he's a young player. Obviously, he played for the national team. He has a lot of
He's
potential.
homegrown. I think
Of
he
course, so I hope
represents the
that doesn't
club very
happen.
well.
But
Yeah,
he needs to tread lightly.
yeah.
You know.
And it's also I think it's maybe one of the first kind of reflections of Mascherano as a coach in general, where it's fair to say in his first season, and we've talked about it in many episodes, how we get frustrated that sometimes he makes decisions he doesn't make a decision quick enough, or he goes with something that he feels is comfortable with, but isn't really maybe what is best for the team or what we think is, fair for other players. So it's him being called out too, as coaches are notoriously stubborn. You'll see, for example, Manchester City, like how many teams did Jack Grealish not start for? And he gets frustrated, right? Like even every coach, they have they get they make their players frustrated because they become stubborn. They have their ways, they have their plans, they have their this, that, and the other. And he also will need to and will adapt because of that as well. So what you did say though also is about, player in general. How do we think players are feeling? Because this all stems from obviously the fact that this week, although it's not been official for both of them, Federico Redondo has been uh what was that? Traded. It's not traded sold to
Redondo?
yeah.
Yeah. No, he's been
So
officially yeah, he's officially gone.
sold to
Yeah.
El Elche, no,
Elche.
Elche.
Mhm.
And so he's gone. Rodrigo De Paul just came in. Drake Callender, who was a talisman for this club, just gone like that. Robert Taylor, Julian Gressel gone. So, you know, players much like Cremaschi probably feel a sense of uncertainty of not only forgetting just about where and if they play, but if they'll be on the team because there's a lot of ins and outs that are going out because the goal of the club right now, which everyone should be clear on, is to have win as many trophies as possible with Lionel Messi and build the club as much as possible in these next 3 years that you can. And how you sacrifice and who you sacrifice or what you move around in order to get that to happen, they're gonna do. So, I'm sure there's many other players in that locker room like Cremaschi who feel frustrated and nervous, and we'll just have to wait and see how that plays out because in the last 3 weeks alone, we've seen 3, 4 major changes. Ready? 1, David Martinez, the loan ended. He was playing great at left when he was healthy, he was playing great at left center back. His loan done. Federico Redondo sold, gone. Drake Callender gone, and Rodrigo De Paul, one of the greatest midfielders currently in his prime, joined the team. All of that happened in the last couple of weeks. So you could understand that right now. How do you think players are feeling?
It's yeah, like the I think the feelings that the players should be feeling right now, or the emotions that the player should be feeling right now, is the fact that you're very replaceable. It's just
Like,
you
don't
are.
mess up. Show that, or
Don't
or
mess up.
or on the other way, show that you are not replaceable. That's the way,
Exactly.
right?
Because
Like
when you
Yannick
have
Brake
players
did
like
that. He
yeah,
showed, "I'm not replaceable. If you're getting rid of one of us, it's gonna be him," and he was right.
because like you said, Inter Miami has clearly shown that anybody can be replaceable. They've traded Drake. They've sold, or they're about to trade Drake. They've sold Redondo to Elche. There's rumors on Ruiz leaving. We've recently they've sold Robert Taylor and like they've cleaned house for most guys. And
Leo
Redondo was
Campana.
a favorite. And Leo Campana, sure.
Yeah,
They've sold. I mean, Redondo's the big one because he's been given chance after chance after chance after chance for Mascherano. Um, and he still ended up being sold.
right.
So um the Benka needs to know, everybody on this team needs to know that you can leave at any moment. Um, and these players need to always give their 100% on the field so that because if they want to start and they want to consistently play, they need to show that and prove that. And I don't think Benja has been proving that he deserves to start over this team yet. I
Yeah,
think he still needs more time. Um, but he just needs to keep going,
keep
and
going, yeah.
one day he's gonna take the starting position. if he's willing to do that. So because you also have to be willing
Or
to.
get an opportunity to get it maybe somewhere else. I hope it's not because I think I like
Exactly.
that he plays for Miami, but, he gets his opportunity. I'd say
Yep.
there's 4 players I can think of who need to probably excuse me, and are thinking every moment of every day, like, "I need to be the best and I need to maximize my chance." That would be Ian Frey, um, Yannick Bright, Cremaschi, and Fafa. Those 4
Yep.
players are the ones that right now, like, are sometimes in favor, sometimes not, and have direct competition for their spot that right now someone else is being favored. I don't necessarily think that's true with Frey because I think if Frey is perfectly healthy, like he would get the nod. But the point is he's not. He's not
Right.
perfectly healthy and he's shown that over and over again. But when he is on, he is. And so if he gets the chance, he has to take it. Yannick Bright,
Right.
if it was literally anyone else in the world besides Busquets and DePaul, you'd make a hard argument that he wouldn't start every single game. So, he needs to just always be on his toes and ready to play and be put where he needs to be because the talent is obviously there. Um, Cremaschi, we obviously just talked about, and then finally Fafa, also, I'm sure it feels very similar to, Cremaschi in frustration, thinking he'd be getting a lot more minutes than he's gotten so far this season. Um, that could be a coaching, that could be an issue of practice, it could be of not gelling, it could be of I think Allende has a little bit too long of a leash in my opinion, but, Fafa also has shown that he can score and he can be explosive. So, him also figuring out how to get himself, as a rotational piece, and it'll be exciting to watch, but, yeah, I don't
Sure.
know, any last thoughts on this? I just thought we wanted to do a quick little episode to talk about it because obviously it's been in big news and we are an Inter Miami podcast, Messi first and foremost, but Inter Miami is our team and it is what we talk about. So, yeah, you feel
No,
like you covered
absolutely.
it?
The only thing I'll say is if
Yeah,
anybody in the comments or anybody watching here, if they have an opinion on the Benka situation, does he
yeah,
think that he deserves more minutes? Is Mascherano right? Should what do you think of Benka, or what do you think the future of Benka is at this club? To feel free to leave it in the comments below, or tag us on Twitter
yeah,
at
the link
Messi
right there.
Co, and we'll be more than happy to take a look at those opinions and responses as well.
100%. Awesome job. Yeah, so, thank you, Matt, for translating and being able to help steer that convo, but I'm glad we talked about it.
Of course.
Make sure you're following us on Twitter, like you just said, at Messi Co. Subscribe on YouTube, turn on that notification bell, 5 Reasons Football, so you get to see these great videos and talk about everything that's happening every moment of, Inter Miami and of Messi. So for this quick edition of Messi Co, I'm Ashley. That is Matt, and we will see you next time.
See you guys.